Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our main event for UFC 322. In our main event, it almost doesn't feel real. A matchup between a dominant lightweight champion moving up and a welterweight striker who surged into title contention and became champion with clean fundamentals and a quiet confidence. It is Jack Della Maddalena making his first title defense of the welterweight belt against the former and consensus, or more often than not, the consensus greatest lightweight of all time, Islam Makhachev. This isn't just a clash of styles, it's a clash of approaches. Islam represents structure, control, and championship discipline, while Jack brings rhythm, composure, and some of the sharpest pocket boxing in the sport. Two completely different paths meeting atop of a heavier division, each man stepping into unfamiliar territory in his own way. It's a fascinating matchup because neither fighter wins with chaos. Both are methodical, both are calculated, and both have an identity that doesn't bend easily. So let's slow down and work through what makes this fight such an intriguing main event. I mean, also, you think of it, just the legacy on the line for both men, but I'll get into that with the context of this. For Makhachev, he's spent years proving himself as the most complete lightweight on the planet. And not just a grappler, not just a pressure fighter, a champion who blends positional wrestling with sharp timing on the feet. He controls opponents with ease, even in chaotic exchanges, and he's carved out his own identity, separate from the legacy he's inherited. Now, of course, he's always going to be stuck in the shadow of Khabib. They're training partners, they're basically brothers, but I think Islam has done an excellent job of carving his own path. I mean, he has the most title defenses in lightweight history, and now he's doing something Khabib himself never did, moving up to challenge for the welterweight belt. Oh, and he's doing this not because he needs to, but because the championship mindset pulls him towards the bigger challenges. The confidence is warranted, but the step up in rate is real. He's moving into a division where fighters hit harder, defend takedowns much differently, and don't get bullied in the clinch as easily. This fight will be a test of how much of his lightweight dominance scales upward. Third, for Jack Della Maddalena, he enters this fight with momentum built entirely on clarity and patience. He doesn't waste motion, he doesn't rush openings. His striking is built on clean angles, small steps, layered feints, and perfect posture. He doesn't fight like the typical welterweight brawler. He fights like someone who's learned to solve problems calmly, even in the most dangerous of exchanges. Each win has shown the same thing. A fighter who doesn't break shape and doesn't let the moment speed him up. His rise through the division in without theatrics or noise, just performances that speak for themselves. And facing the lightweight champion at welterweight, that's the biggest stage he's ever stepped into, but also the type of fight that suits his mindset. Both men come in with belief, both come in with a purpose. One defending a legacy across divisions, the other creating one for his own. I mean, truly, think about this, right? Like, think of Islam wins, right? He's not only, same with Weili in the co-main event. These two have the potential to be either the 11th or the 12th double champion in UFC history. Not only that, right? Islam will be able to do something Khabib never did. That is, gain 2 belts in 2 divisions, and he will tie Anderson Silva for the longest win streak in UFC history at 16. That is insane legacy for Makhachev. For JDM, he's the new champion. This is his first title defense. He's going to prove that he is the champion. Stamp his flag in and say, this is my fucking division. And build his legacy and not just make his championship run a footnote. So much on the line for both of these men, and I can't wait. Now, looking at their styles, starting with Islam. Islam's game is defined by control. He doesn't rely on explosiveness to get his takedowns. He relies on timing, angles, positioning, and pressure that slowly removes options for his opponents. Islam will walk you towards the fence, force defensive reactions, and use those reactions to secure either a level change or clink entry that he has been waiting for. On the ground, he's patient and heavy. He doesn't chase everything at once. He works in layers, making opponents defend the first problem while the second and third problem are already forming. His top pressure is very technical, not just physical, and once he establishes control, he rarely lets fights slip away. Very different to Khabib, if you will. One, I think Islam is a much more complete fighter than Khabib, and clearly a better striker. But their grappling is also different. Habib mauls you and mostly works ground and pound, like a bear. While Islam is more of, the weasel said it, like a snake, where Islam is much more submission focused than ground. Now he has really good ground and pound, like in the Bobby Green fight, but honestly, Islam is, like I said, I think much more submission oriented than Habib. Now, on the feet, Islam has developed into a sharp counter striker, or with specifically, he's a southpaw, and that left hand does have some real power. You saw with Gleison Tebow where he knocked him out with basically the first punch he landed. And he's comfortable drawing out entries so he can punish them. He's not reckless. He keeps his balance. He avoids extended exchanges unless he chooses them, and uses his striking to funnel opponents towards the grappling he prefers. The one unknown is how all of this translate against a true welterweight with elite distance management and clean boxing. His structure is strong, but the physical questions are real. As JDM is easily the biggest opponent Islam has ever faced, and more broadly, JDM's a true welterweight. Now Islam's going to be moving up. Now, granted, he looks big, dude. He's walking around the 190s. He's saying he doesn't have to cut any weight. So I don't think Islam's going to look small, but again, how is he going to look at the weight class above? That's always the big question. Looking at Jack Della Maddalena, or I'm just going to say Jack for short, or JDM. Jack's striking is built around efficiency. He doesn't fight tall. He doesn't fight wide. He doesn't overload with power. Jack has always fought range to counter, always ready to roll under a shot or angle off, and always balanced enough to fire back without hesitation. Everything's compact, everything is stable. Well, Jack has easily one of the most important tools in the division, his jab. Now, Jack is very good at switching stances. He can fight out of southpaw or orthodox. And in fact, when he throws in combination, he oftentimes is able to switch stances mid-combo. Now, again, specifically with JDM's jab, it's fast enough to disrupt rhythm, clean enough to set up his combinations. And when Jack gets inside the pocket, he might be one of the best boxers, if not the best boxer at welterweight. He sees counters early, he works the body without needing wild entries, and stays defensively aware even as he pressures forward. Now, what makes Jack dangerous isn't just sharp technique, it's his ability to stay calm when the exchanges get uncomfortable. Well, he doesn't freeze up, he's not going to panic. He doesn't give his opponents the reaction they're looking for. And against someone who relies on reactions to secure takedowns, I think that's going to matter in this fight. JDM's takedown defense is also built around fundamentals. He's got strong hips, frames really well, good balance, and the ability to keep the fight in space where he's comfortable. He doesn't need to be the better grappler in Islam. He just needs to keep the fight long enough for his hands to matter, on the feet. And if he can find his rhythm with the jab, with the counter right, and the ability to beat Islam in small moments, the fight takes a completely different tone. A big factor for this one for me is you look at JDM when he fought Bilal Muhammad. Now, the big thing in that fight was a lot of people thought he was going to get out-wrestled in that fight, except JDM showed much, much, much better takedown defense. And even then, before that fight, JDM has always had the ability to scramble out of bad positions on the ground, especially working with Craig Jones. And I think JDM's biggest strength is never accepting position and constantly working scrambles to get up from the ground. Plus, I know this might be controversial. I don't know. But I honestly think JDM's a better boxer than Dustin Poirier. So the best boxer Islam's ever faced. Now, I know Poirier is a great southpaw boxer, but really think about this, right? Jack Della Maddalena's combinations to the body or head are, I think, much more seamless. His ability to switch stances consistently make him far more dangerous. And I just think he's much cleaner with his counters. Again, Poirier is one of the best boxers the UFC's ever seen. But I think JDM might be better than him. Again, that's my opinion. Now, how these two meet in the middle, this is a fight where both men want control. It's just they achieve that control in different ways. Islam wants to close the distance in layers. He'll pressure with his feet, not his hands. He'll feint the level changes, feint the cage cut, and slowly build the situation where the takedown just becomes an inevitability. And if he can get Jack flat against the fence consistently, the fight becomes his kind of fight. But Jack doesn't accept pressure without giving something back. His footwork isn't flashy, but it's extremely effective at small corrections, stepping off the line or center line, circling before he hits the warning track, and making sure he's never squared up long enough for Islam to make easy entries. And if he keeps the distance, or sorry, if he keeps that discipline early, I think this is going to be much difficult for Islam. Another thing about Jack Della Maddalena is that while he defends with a boxer like this high guard, he actually defends takedowns like this too. You've seen it before. He keeps the high guard, ducks down, and kind of charges at his opponent's takedown entry, so they're not able to get a lock on his hips. Now, the big question is how clean Jack keeps the, or sorry, how clean Jack keeps the pocket. If he maintains posture, keeps his jab active, and force Islam to reset instead of entering cleanly, he can chip away at the former lightweight champion. Islam won't be discouraged easily, but he does need cooperation for the takedowns, and Jack is not generous with the openings. The fight won't be a non-stop action. It'll be one of exchanges where each man tries to impose his structure or his will, one looking for angles to strike, the other looking for angles to wrestle. And the longer those exchanges happen in open space, the more momentum, I think, leans in a particular direction. Guys, I'll be honest, I've been struggling with this pick ever since the fight was announced, because I picked JDM against Bilal, and I was nervous, but he proved me right to pick him. Meanwhile, you have Islam, who's not lost a fight in a fucking decade. So, like, the question becomes, who do I pick? I have truly struggled, and I have been going back and forth in my head because, like, Islam's a better wrestler than Bilal, and he has more ways to get the fight to the ground than Bilal. But at the same time, Jack is a slick striker, good at good at backing up and giving real estate, but at the same time circling back and never making the takedown entry easy. This fight I feel like this fight hinges on the balance between Islam's ability to consistently close distance and Jack's ability to manage that distance. If Islam will absolutely have moments, he's too skilled not to. He will get inside on occasion. He'll test Jack's balance, and he'll make him work in every way other welterweights simply haven't. But I think as the rounds go on, if Jack continues to stay composed, maintain his jab, and keeps making Islam restart his entries, I think the fight opens up for him. And of course, the longer this stays standing, the more the boxing begins to separate. Jack doesn't need a knockout, I don't think. He just needs clean counters, disciplined footwork, the same calm he has shown every step of the way towards that belt. So, against all odds, I am going to pick Jack Della Maddalena. I think Jack Della can pull ahead in this fight later on. I think after turning a few key defensive stands into momentum and letting his boxing tell the story. I've truly struggled. I have. But I just think with the combination of him being a natural welterweight, his strength, his improved takedown defense, his ability to scramble, the fact that Craig Jones and Volkanovski are in his camp and will help him tremendously in this fight are huge factors that I don't think I can ignore. And while I think if this fight stays on the ground for long periods of time, I think even with as good as a scrambler Jack is, Islam will find his openings for submission. But of course, it becomes, can Islam take him down? And probably he can. I mean, I'd be shocked if he doesn't get a takedown in. I guarantee he'll get more than one. I can say that. But I really think Jack Della Maddalena can create enough scrambles to get space and then work his boxing. And even as the fight goes on, he's proven to have 5-round cardio. We've seen it against the cardio machine, Bilal Muhammad. I think Jack Della Maddalena can find his moments on the feet, just enough to hurt Islam Makhachev. So, not easy for me. But I'm going to tell you this. Everyone who thinks Islam is just going to run over Jack Della Maddalena, I think, are out of their mind. Jack Della Maddalena is too skilled to be that. I don't know why he's a 2-1 underdog. It makes no sense to me. Islam being the favorite makes absolute sense to me. And at the same time, conversely, I don't think Maddalena is going to piece up Islam on the feet, willy-nilly. Islam has proven to be a very good striker in his own right. I mean, shoot, he set that head kick to Volkanovski very cleanly. He outboxed Dustin Poirier with the threat of the takedown. He did it because the threat of the takedown leaves opening for very good counter striking and very good striking in general. But as I said, I think Jack Della Maddalena, and I think he can pull ahead with his clean boxing, his clean footwork, and his ability to scramble and his ever-improving takedown defense. And so, once again, I'm picking Jack Della Maddalena, and I'm going to pick him. I think I'm going to pick him via decision this fight. Now, knockout is not impossible. We've seen in Islam's one and only loss, he got sparked out by Adriano Munoz, I believe is how you pronounce the name. I apologize if I got that wrong. And Jack is a clean counter striker too, not like Islam, and I think he can find that shot. So once again, I'm going Jack Della Maddalena, but I think I'm going to go with decision. This is a rare main event for me. Two methodical fighters meeting in the center of a division shift. No shortcuts, no gimmicks, just a fascinating tactical matchup with real stakes for both their careers. But that being said, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Leave a like and subscribe. And let me know down on the comments below who you think is going to win. And of course, and not only that, but also in the comments, just let me know what you think of overall their legacies in this fight, what it means for both men's legacies, and how you, like I said, how you see the fight going. I'd love to hear your opinion. But that being said, stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see y'all next time.